I've seen before people get really mad when someone enforces a boundary. And I don't mean, hey, this is intolerable, don't do that to me. I mean, when people say, this behavior is less than I want, and I will leave if it doesn't change. When someone says that, it seems like there's a lot of people who attack them. And they want them to compromise, which is good. Compromise is very good. But they want them to compromise to the point of compromising themselves. It is so important, whether it's in a relationship, in your job, when you're at school, whatever it is, that you can compromise with other people. You can recognize, hey, my needs are not going to always instantly be met, while also not compromising yourself and what you want and your goals in life. Every single time you invest in yourself, every single time you invest in what you want, you are treating yourself with respect. And every single time you compromise yourself and you accept some sort of deviant behavior you weren't appreciating, or you settle in for being yelled at for something you didn't even do, every single time that you refuse to step forward when you wanted something, every single time that you tolerate someone treating you in a way that you would never treat them, you're dismissing yourself. You're treating yourself with disrespect. It is easier to say, oh, that person should put up a boundary when something's really horrible, or when someone did something to them that was objectively illegal. You know, that's easier to say, oh yes, their boundary should be respected. It's a lot harder when it's you're doing something that's just not what they want. You're not compatible. People get offended by that. They're like, well, what's wrong with me? And it's not about you, it's about them. People get so demanding. They're saying, well, someone else can accept you, but I can't tolerate this behavior. I need to be with someone who doesn't act like this. And this doesn't mean necessarily you're bad. If this is who you are, this is who you are. It's just not for me. A lot of people are expected to stick around with people that say they went to elementary school with, or high school with, or college with, and keep those people in their life. Or say your family, you grew up with them, they're your siblings or your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. Oh, you're related by blood, so obviously you've got to stick with them. The rest of your life, they got to be part of your life. But they're not actually someone that you care about or like. They're not someone who shares your morals or convictions. You don't really even share interests. You happen to have a few stories that you can rehash together every time that you hang out, or that you can reminisce about, and then that's really kind of it. And these people really should either be an acquaintance or really not in your life. They're not adding anything, but you stick with them anyway because there's like this pressure. Every single time that you do, you're kind of wasting your time and you're dismissing your own need. You're not treating yourself with respect. And that's a hard thing, because it doesn't have to be that they're bad. They don't have to be someone that you actually dislike. They just might not even be good for you. And I don't mean you have to disown them, but there is something to be said for saying, hey, look, I feel like we want different things, so I'm going to spend more time over here by this thing that I want to do. But that means I'm going to be spending less time with you. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means what I want is over here. People just attack each other so bad for that. How many divorces is that what the person is saying? And then it turns into this petty fight where people are ripping each other apart when they supposedly loved each other. Because one person said, I just don't feel like we're actually compatible. Oh my gosh, I just hung out with someone and she was like, wow, all of my friends are not like you. And I just realized almost all of them are just people that I've known from high school and they only call me when they have a problem and they want to talk to me and just drain my energy because they just want to complain and complain, but they don't want to do anything or change anything. And I'm just sort of their like emotional support friend. And if I call them and I need something, oh, they don't have time. If I call them and I want to hang out, no, they don't really have time. The only time that they want to talk is when they have a problem. And I'm like, well, then that's not really a friendship. Friendship's supposed to be mutual. It sounds like you're their friend, but they're not yours. So set a boundary. Oh, but then they would be mad at me. I mean, that's their choice, but you didn't do anything wrong by saying, hey, maybe we should step back. I used to have a friend who called me only when she was miserable about something, when she was tortured about having a crush on someone that she didn't know if they liked her, or if her friend, you know, hurt her feelings, or oh, she just broke up. Like, she would call me and then the rest of the year wouldn't talk to me at all. So it was like a couple times a year she would call me with some horrible problem, and then I would listen and talk her through it, and then she just wouldn't call me again. And I remember I invited her to do something with my whole family, and when I invited her to do something with my whole family, she just wasn't really interested. She didn't interact, she didn't do anything. And I thought, I've been your friend for like 6 years. What is this? And so I just had to quietly be like, look, I don't think you're a bad friend. Like, I don't think you're terrible or anything, but I do feel like you're not really part of my life. Sometimes you have to say something like that to a person, and it doesn't have to be yelled or aggressive or, oh, they've failed you or disappointed you or something. It's just that you recognize that you have a need. You need to go look for it to be met. It can be that you say that to them and they're like, oh, hey, you are right. I should be the person meeting this need. I want to be. I care about you. We've known each other for years. And it could be that they step up. My friend did not step up. You know, I also have friends who I don't know if I should be their friends because we have very differing beliefs, but for some reason we have similar senses of humor or something. Like, I have this guy friend, and he leans a little in a direction of beliefs that I definitely don't, but we don't talk about it that often. What we mostly talk about is like computers and technology and girls. So he and I get along, we joke around, but he's not someone I would have technically chosen to be a friend if I had known a ton of stuff about him. But we seem to have similar senses of humor, so it works out. But I can see in the future that he probably won't be like a lifelong friend. Like, it could come up at some point that we really just differ strongly enough on our convictions about the world that we probably won't always be pals. That's okay. People can be part of your life temporarily. It's okay to recognize that someone or something is not meeting a need of yours, and that you just are looking for that need to be met. And there is a difference between that and being able to compromise with someone. Being able to say, yeah, we can work together. Yeah, we can do teamwork. Compromising should be about reaching a goal together. Compromising should not be about, well, you diminish yourself so I can be bigger. It's okay to do that temporarily for, say, a moment when someone, say, is in crisis and they kind of need to take up a lot of space in that moment. But if that is all the time and you never get the chance to take up space, you're always the smallest person in the room when you're with that person, then that's not a mutual relationship, and you're compromising yourself, and you're not just making compromises with them. At a certain point, it needs to be about common goals and common interests common pursuit. Because every single time that you dismiss yourself, you're just teaching yourself how little you're worth. You're ruining your own confidence. You're teaching the other person to do that to you as well. It's a double whammy of, hey, you don't matter, because you're convincing yourself you don't matter, and you're convincing your friend you don't matter either. You're convincing your boss at your work, well, I treat myself like I don't matter, so obviously you can treat me like I don't matter too. You're teaching your girlfriend or your boyfriend, hey, you know what? I'm always abandoning myself in this relationship, so I won't be shocked when someday you abandon me. There's just a huge difference. Every single time that you tolerate something, it has an opportunity to just be a compromise. It can be, if it's temporary. But if it's a continual thing, if it's an ongoing thing, if it's all the time, then you're not just compromising, you're compromising yourself. Don't be dismissive of yourself. Invest in yourself, invest in what you want, pursue what you want. Teach yourself that you're worth showing up for. And when you teach yourself that, you're also teaching other people that you matter.